What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
You really are crazy. RadioWhat.com.
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to play for the people. Speaking of playing for the people, on the program today, I have Denryc Hill. He likes to play for the people. He likes to entertain the people. He likes to create for the people. And you get to hear a little bit about his story coming up in your ears in the next few minutes. This week's shows, my public shows this week, since it is Valentine's Day on Friday, I am at the RAB in Conway, Arkansas. That is the usual place for me to be on a Friday night, but thankfully it is Valentine's Day, so it's all about the love. And yes, if you're single, you come on out because it's Singles Awareness Day as well. So come on out to the RAB Friday night. Full bar, kitchen, pool tables, pool tournament going on Friday night. The shuffleboard on the party patio, foosball, darts, giant Jenga game. There's always something to do while you're waiting to sing at the video dance party. Karaoke jam at the RAB Friday nights in Conway, Arkansas. Starts at 8 p.m. and we go almost till 2 in the a.m. And then Saturday night, we're going to have another love fest. Yes, a brand new place for me. It's Los Cabos Mexican Restaurant in Morrilton, Arkansas. That's February 15th, Saturday. I get to be there. And that one's going to go from 6 until 10, I believe. And yes, it's going to be a good time. I've heard great things about this place. It's a big Mexican restaurant, and they have great Mexican food right in Morrilton, Arkansas. So I encourage you to be there. Bring your honey, or if you don't have a honey, come on out. I'll be your love donor. You know, I have love to give. So come on out. I'll play the good songs for you. And it's karaoke time. You know you're going to be the star of the show, or at least one of the stars. Come on out and sing a song, or watch everybody else sing. It's going to be a good time over at Los Cabos in Morrilton, Arkansas. That's from 6 o'clock until at least 10 o'clock. It's going to be, we're going to go late, and it's going to be fun. So I got that. We got that. It's a whole love weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Speaking of love, hey, I'd love to get into a conversation with Denryc Hill. So let's call Denryc Hill now.
Hello?
Hi, Denryc Hill, please.
Hey, what's going on? This is Denryc.
Denryc Hill, the Detroit God?
Yes, that is me.
It's Keys Dan with the What Makes You Famous podcast. I'm looking at your bio. I mean, just a short little bio. Writer, actor, director that has made several appearances on national TV and major movies. Let the people know, who is Denryc Hill?
Well, yeah, that's me, and I'm from Detroit. Denryc Hill. I'm an actor, filmmaker, motivational speaker. I just added that to my list of things that I do. So, yeah, man, I live in Georgia now.
Okay.
And I've been living here like 6 years from Detroit. I grew up in the streets of Detroit, and, you know, Detroit got kind of bad and got rough, so I began to change my life and just, you know, live a more positive lifestyle. And then I ended up moving down to Georgia to pursue a career in entertainment, you know?
Yeah, I noticed that Georgia has a lot of TV shows that have been moving there. I know The Walking Dead is there. I'm not familiar with all the shows, all the productions that are in Georgia. Are you involved in any of those that going on right now?
Yes, I'm involved in majority of the stuff that goes on. I was actually a regular on The Walking Dead. I played one of Negan's crew, the Saviors. I actually made at least 5 good appearances on there. You know, just appearances, just cameos where you could see me, you know, doing things and stuff like that. So, yeah, and I really got some real fans from that show. You know, at one point in time, The Walking Dead was like the hottest show, you know, in the world or whatever, as far as the numbers goes and all of that. And, yeah, so some real people reached out to me. They had a fan page and everything, had me set up real nice. So a lot of the shows that shoot here in Atlanta, I get booked to work on those sets. And so, yeah, I'm involved in all that kind of stuff.
Man, who would have known, Denryc Hill, that Atlanta is the place to be if you want to be in movies? You know, if you want to play an extra, if you want to be in any kind of production, Atlanta might be the place to be. I mean, what do you think that it is that makes Atlanta such, or Georgia, for its other words, a place that productions want to go to? I've heard a little bit about it, but do you have any thoughts on it, Denryc Hill?
Yeah, and actually, Georgia is a right to work state, and that means that people, you know, regular people can just work in the entertainment industry. Because in certain places like Hollywood, California, and New York, you have to be a part of different unions and stuff like that. So it's different laws and stuff. The laws are different here, and what they did was they gave a huge tax break to the film industry here in Georgia. And the crazy thing is they actually was going to give the tax break that they gave to Georgia, they was going to give it to Michigan, where I'm from, back in the day, but the governor decided against it, so they end up bringing it here, you know. So
you see, Denryc Hill,
crazy about it.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake, you know, because I know that I don't know exactly which ones, like I said before, but I know that a lot of productions are moving to Atlanta, and you've shed a little bit of light for me. For instance, I'm sure other people know about the tax breaks and the right to work and all that, Denryc Hill, but you have taught me some things, and that's what I'm doing, man, right here, learning with you. So tell me about a young Denryc Hill in the streets of Detroit. You say that was a rougher time. I mean, how so?
Yeah, because it was, you know, I grew up in what they call the dope game, you know, and stuff like that. And it was the family business back then, you know, and it was crazy because my family had a lot of real estate. We owned a lot of property in Detroit. And when my grandparents passed, because I had a lot of aunts and uncles, and they were, you know, in the game and stuff like that. And I inherited the property and I inherited the business. You know, they were going to give the properties to some of my cousins or whoever, you know, that they was going to leave it to. But the family decided that I had to get it because I was the only one that was going to sell drugs from all of the properties. That's the real streets for you right there. It's like, here go all these buildings, here go 4 and 5 houses, commercial properties, and you know, anybody in the family could have got it, but they gave it to me because they knew that I knew how to hustle. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. Yeah, man. It's like it's some rappers, they be like, "Mama taught me not to sell dope," or something like that, and it's like it just was different for me. Mama taught me how to sell dope, you know. So back in those days, so it's just really crazy how I grew up, you know.
Man, Denryc Hill, that is a different kind of upbringing, that's for sure. You know, a lot of people could not relate to that, but you're teaching them that there's a way out of any situation. You know, you may have grown up that way, but that's not where you ended up, man. You spent your whole life pretty much. I guess your whole life in Detroit, Michigan, which, you know, you call yourself the Detroit God. You know, I'm from Key Largo, Florida, and I call myself Keys Dan, but here I am in Conway, Arkansas. You kind of take the moniker that you were growing up with, and you bring it with you. So you got a little piece of Detroit with you no matter where you go. I mean, were there any good times in Detroit? What are the good parts? I mean, you're selling dope. Yeah. It might have its ups and downs, I'm sure. Hopefully not too many downs, but you know, and a few ups. But what are the good times in Detroit?
Well, I love all my experiences, good or bad, because I feel like it all shaped me. And then I'm one of the type of people that I just love my experience in life. Like, I was going through some of the worst times in my life, and I was still enjoying my life because I was just thankful to be alive, thankful that I have an experience to have. You know what I'm saying? So, but I had since I made a lot of money, I had a lot of great experiences. I mean, I've probably just blew more money than, some people will ever probably make in their life. So that was fun, being a boss and being in charge of people. That was fun. And the thing is, I always wanted to travel, though. I was making so much money just in the same neighborhood, in the same city, and just blowing it. And I always wanted to travel. But my team, they wasn't with traveling. You know what I'm saying? So just when I first started getting out of Detroit to travel, once I left the streets alone, that was really great to travel and to come back and tell people about things I've done and whatnot. But and also when I was throwing parties in Detroit for a little while. Those were great experiences to see that I had, the power to bring crowds of people out, to come celebrate or have fun with me. Man, I have a lot of great experiences. I love Detroit, and I love everything I've been through for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? So every experience was really great to me.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm understanding, the dope game, you may have made a lot of money, but you were trapped in that game to where you could not get out of it. You had to keep on hustling. You had to keep on doing what you were doing. So the job, a lot of people work 9-to-5 jobs and they get stuck at their desk and they go home at 5:00 and they wish they could travel. You had a job that wasn't maybe 9-to-5, but you were still stuck in that position where you couldn't get out of it. But once you finally did, I mean, what was the turning point and where did you go?
Okay, first, that's why they call it the trap. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're really trapped in it, and especially if you grew up in the game young, it's all and you don't want to leave that fast money alone. You know what I'm saying? So for so many years when I was trapping, as they call it, or hustling, I wanted to do the things that I'm doing now. I wanted to shoot movies. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be an actor. And for 20 years hustling, I wanted to do the things I'm doing now. So what happened was I went through a bunch of bad experiences. And basically I went to buy some stuff and I ended up getting caught up and I lost everything I had in one whop. I had all my jewelry on me, all my money, all my stuff that I had, pounds of weed that I had bought. And I went down and I got caught up and I, sat down for a few years basically to myself. I didn't really do a lot of time or nothing like that, but it was devastated me to take that big loss and I was tired of it. So, and then I just, after sitting down for 2-3 years, not doing nothing much but thinking about how I wanted to change my life and stuff like that, I just, like I say, I started traveling. And when I hit Georgia, I knew I was going to move here. I went to New York. I had traveled to Memphis. I traveled to Florida, Miami a couple of times. And I was just traveling in rental cars, just, selling my independent music. At this time, I was like, well, look, I'm going to give my music a shot. And little did I know I was going to be successful doing that. I wish I had started earlier selling my own music and stuff like that, because I ended up making so much money doing that. I was like, wow, I could have been stopped hustling. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy because I just always saw the money and I always felt the legitimate money, but it wasn't until I actually did a mixtape and start selling it and I made so much money that I was able to travel, because I used to go down to the Detroit Tigers baseball games, you know what I'm saying? And people used to just buy my music and I would make thousands of dollars every week. And then I was like, okay, well, I can start traveling now. I wasn't hanging with the same people no more from my hood and stuff like that. So I really just got out there and started traveling. And once I hit Georgia, I was like, okay, I feel the vibe here. I'm moving here. At that time, I didn't even know the industry was here like that, so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've been to places where the industry is well established. You said you went to New York and Miami and what is it, Tennessee? There's industry all over those places, and then you ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, of all places. I know that's a city that's booming. And today on another podcast I was listening, that is a city within like a forest, within a jungle that is prospering. So, I mean, they were talking about climate change and such on that podcast, but it was so funny that it was mentioned today, and here I am talking to you, Denryc Hill, out there in Atlanta, Georgia. So when you say that you traveled, that means you got in a car and just started driving to places and seeing what you could see in this country of ours, the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. And at the same, and I was selling my music, while I was doing it. I would make like $5,000 in Detroit, and then it was like, okay, well now I'm finna go to New York, and hang out there for a few days or so and see what that's about. I made money there and just kept doing it like that. Yep.
The man's got music skills that connected with the people. Now, when did that start? I mean, were you a young man when you figured out that you could play music, or what was the first thing? The writing, the acting, the directing, the music? What was the first thing that hit you, and when was that?
All right. And that's one of my things, too. I said that I wanted to be so great in music and in acting that I wanted people to wonder which one of those was my best love or my first love. And actually, it was the music, because when I was young, I was very shy and reserved. And something within me, like the energy and everything, was telling me, like, hey, you're going to grow up and you're going to do this and you're going to be doing that. But at the time, you know how your instincts speak to you. And I was very young, and it was telling me that. And I was like, I'm too shy and reserved. I can't even talk to people. I had anxiety and stuff like that. So I wasn't outgoing as I am nowadays, and I just couldn't understand it. But other than that, I love rapping. I started out rapping first, so I guess that would be my first love. I started rapping as I was young, and I started to realize, like, I could really rap, and everybody around me started telling me I could rap, and I started influencing other people. A lot of people around me wanted to start rapping because they saw that I could rap, but I also went to acting school when I was younger. Somebody saw me, and a friend of a family, and they said, hey, you're going to be an actor. And they got me and my sister, and they put us in some acting workshops and acting programs from a young age. And from there, my mom started putting me in acting programs as I got older and stuff like that. So I just started learning, the craft, but yeah, I love rapping, man. I love singing. When I was in middle school, I wanted to be an R&B singer.
What?
So.
And when was this? So what year was this?
I can't recall exactly what year it was, but right now I'm about to be 40 years old, July 21st. That's my birthday.
That's fantastic, man. And after all these years, you're still in the game, still doing it, man. So when you were a young kid, you were influenced, and your mom backed you up on this, backed you and your sister up on your plays. Yeah. And she saw your mom saw something in the both of you that she said she wanted to kind of ignite that fire a little bit. And so when you started doing the music in middle school, were you doing talent shows or doing any kind of something in front of the kids, or was this in the hallways in front of your lockers maybe, or at house parties? Where did it start to blossom, Denryc Hill?
Well, it was all of the above. But it really started to blossom when my folks gave me a house pretty much. I was 16 years old, and my parents was getting out of the game, to live them a better life, but they knew that I was going to be in it, because, you can't, a teenager, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. So my mom left me a house, and I was able to hustle out of that house, and I would start hustling. And so since I was a hustler, 16 years old with my own crib, all the people that was high school age, they'd come around and hang around, and I'd just be rapping all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'd write these raps. I used to, at this time, you could get those little recorders with the little mini cassette tapes, and you can just, like a memo thing, and I used to rap all the time on those and play it back, and everybody just, and that's when it just took off for me. I guess I was like 16, and you know, because my whole hood, my whole city, and everybody know me from, you know, from just what I did in Detroit, you know. So, yeah, it really took off for me about 16, 17. I had my own, it was a 4-bedroom house with a basement. Nice place, you know, and like I said, my family had a lot of property, so when my mom moved in, she just gave me the house, like, here, you know, go ahead, do your thing. I already know what you're gonna do, you know what I'm saying? So
first of all, Denryc Hill, can your mom and dad adopt me? Because I need a house. and
Right.
second of all, I'm 51 years old. I'm a child of the 80s, and here you are going to be 40. You're a child of the 90s. That was where you got your influence. What made you? I mean, were you singing in your room, you know, or watching MTV maybe, or some music videos, or listening to music? What was your influence in the music game? And then we'll talk about the acting and where that went.
Okay. Is there any cursing on this podcast, or
I don't know.
There's a song?
Yeah, I wouldn't, but that's all right. You can do what you want.
Okay.
It's your podcast.
Well, there was a well, this happened when I was in elementary school. I always will remember this when the Walkman was out. The Walkmans with the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends, he brought it to school, and it had a cassette tape in it, and it had DJ Quick's "B Better Have My Money." You know what I'm saying? That song. And when I heard that, I couldn't believe it. He put it in my ear, you know, he put the headphones on my head and he played it. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? I was in elementary school, so it was like in like 4th or 5th grade or something like that. And that blew me away. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow. And I guess that really just did something to me. I always remember that day, because it was just like I was in school. I never heard nothing like that while I was in school. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
You wasn't even supposed to bring those Walkmans to school, and my friend did, and he let me hear it. And it seemed like from there, it was just like I was wired up from it from then.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're a teenager, you want to do stuff that maybe you're not supposed to do. You want to listen to music that, hey, maybe my parents wouldn't like this, but you want to branch out on your own. And kids are the same all the time. The kids that are listening to this, if there is any kids listening, they're going to say, yeah, I listen to my music because my mom doesn't like it. You know, or, you know, my dad doesn't like it, and it's mine. It belongs to me. You get an ownership of the type of music that you listen to, and if that's the song that informed you, yeah, man. I mean, if that's what brought out your creativity, more power to you. You know, that's a great place to start. Now, what kind of songs were you writing? What were you influenced by that you started writing about? What were you writing about?
Well, I was really always on a conscious level. See, I went through a bunch of different stages of it. When I first started rapping and I wanted to rap, I wanted to just put out all positive messages, you know, tell people to act right and, you know, stuff like this. I was trying to rap about good stuff, but I was doing it in an aggressive way as rappers rapped about the street stuff, you know. And then from there, I just started to realize, like, some people just want to hear what they want to hear when they want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So as a teenager and stuff like that growing up, people just wasn't into the conscious rap and, you know, being aware of different things that's going on in the world and stuff like that. So I started rapping about street stuff, and then I got the response that, you know, I wanted. And now I'm back to wanting to rap about positive stuff, you know.
That, man,
just in an aggressive way, just to get the message across.
That sounds like you're growing and changing in your craft, man, and in how you do things, Denryc Hill. Now, like, I grew up when rap was just starting, and from what I can remember, a lot of it was about where you grew up. I'm the best from the east to the west. There really wasn't a lot of cursing involved, but that's notwithstanding, because once the 90s came out with Tupac and Biggie and Snoop and even, even later, Puff Daddy, when things started, they started becoming more of substance and getting deeper into the feelings and what life was all about from their perspective. Is that where you were getting your most influence from? Is that what you were trying to rap about, Denryc Hill?
Yeah, because that was really the music of the times. So, that's exactly what, for the most part, people do. Just emulate what they already hear and what they already see. And but I do remember that Tupac had that song "Dear Mama" came out, and I wanted to perform it at the at the talent show, and this was in middle school.
Right.
And but everybody wanted to perform that song in middle school at the talent show, and so they canceled. They had to cancel the talent show in middle school because everybody wanted to rap that song. You know what I'm saying? And it was creating too much problems because everybody wanted to do it. And it was crazy.
Well,
but
if there's a song, that's a very powerful song. It's like, I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and it was a crazy experience when I actually first heard that song. Some of my friends, I had a couple of friends, and they was, they had got kidnapped by some dudes that kidnapped them and made them go commit some crimes and stuff like that. And when they brought them back to the neighborhood to drop them off, they was playing that song. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy.
So, I mean, that's a more personal experience of what you had. Now, this was your friends that you didn't experience any of that, where you had to commit crimes against your will or even with your will. I mean, you could tell whatever you want.
Nope, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't have to do that because that actually happened to some people that I know. They was like the older G, like OGs or whatnot. They'd pick up the young, teenagers, 11, 12 years old, something like that, 13, and just make you go with them and do some crazy stuff, and then you come back and drop you off, and you don't even know these guys. This is what I've seen happen to people. It didn't happen. It didn't never happen to me like that, but I saw that happen to somebody, and when they dropped them off and they was playing that song, and then my friends was telling me about what happened, like, yeah, man, we don't even know them, and they picked us up, and da-da-da-da-da. So it's just crazy like that in Detroit, though. I mean, it was like certain, when you living in the hood, all the bad stuff is just regular day to you. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy thing about it. It's just like a normal day.
Exactly. It's amazing what humans can identify as the normal. Things that are happening to you, things that you're explaining to me are so amazing, so out of my reach, out of my wheelhouse that I wouldn't even think about these things. And here you are. It's just another day in Detroit, for Denryc Hill and his family and his friends, So, man, I'm glad you made it through that. Through that experience comes creativity, and that's what you said that you did. You put it down. You put it into song. Was this all the recordings that you say that you sing, and were you making them yourself in your room, or did you actually go to a studio, and were you able to work with somebody, a producer of any kind?
Yeah, well, that's all of the above, too. I started out just writing myself. I always kept a notebook. I always liked to write in my notebook. And for starters, I started out remaking songs. Like you make a parody of a song that's out and you remix it, and you take the beat and you take the rhythm, but you write different words to it, So I started out doing stuff like that, remaking songs to the words that I would wanted them to say. And
there's people that have made whole careers doing that, man. So Denryc Hill, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I used to want to do that as well. I wanted to do that too. I wanted to do that and do the videos, and Weird Al used to be really good with those, and so I wanted to do that, and I was doing that, so that's how I started out. And then I just, I started learning who had the studios and different stuff like that. it was a rough start for me at first because I used to record mixtapes with different people and they just wouldn't give me my songs. Actually, because there's some people like to do things so legit. The first time I recorded a mixtape and I was using industry beats, the guy was scared to release the music to me, thinking like, oh no, you're going to get me sued because you use certain people's beats and stuff like that. And it was crazy. So I had to record the same mixtape a few different times. And yeah, so I just used to go to, anybody who had a studio, I go there, and once they see I can rap, they'll just give me beats, or they'll pull beats off the internet for me or something like that. And before I knew it, I looked up, I had a mixtape, and I started making money off of it, and it was just great.
Man, Denryc Hill, I remember, in the 80s and the 90s, and even today, man, they're still sampling music. Of course, now today it's watched a little bit more closely to where you do have to get permission and such. But back in the 80s, it was the wild, wild west, man. People were just taking songs and finding a place that they could make a loop and rapping over that instrumental part of the song. I remember I was DJing back then, man. I would put something on and just keep looping it, and I'd have two of the same album, and I put one on this turntable and then turn that one down, then go on this turntable and set that one. And it kept going back and forth, and I'd have a rapper sitting in front of me just freestyling sometimes, and sometimes he'd have lyrics that were written down. And so this is the things that you started out doing at first. Now, you were recording in your room. Did you have your own computer, or you said you have your own recording equipment of some kind that you started out on?
Well, just as far as my mini cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And what I used to do is, and then after so long, the phone started advancing. Like right now, I have a button I can hit on my phone, and I can start rapping into it. And if I got a beat playing in the background, and it might come out sounding a little bit decent. So
yeah, you can make a demo right there.
Really, really. So I was just doing a number of different things, man. I remember back in the days, you could record on your radio. You can hit the record, and you can record over the tapes, the cassette tapes. And then you could just keep recording over it and over and over it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you're taking me back with MIDI disc. I think I went to radio school, and one of the things that they were trying to teach us was that Sony MIDI disc, and that was that's the next level. That's the wave of the future. And I think it just died in the 90s, man.
Yeah.
But it was good, man. It worked.
Yeah. But what about how the progression of the DJ thing started changing? I remember that too, because I remember back when I was in school, just different ways of DJing. Like DJing used to really have to DJ. Nowadays, people can just put a flash drive in and let it play and stuff like that. And I remember one time it was a DJ at my school. He was DJing, I guess, with CDs, and he'd throw the CD on the mixtape and leave out or something. But if it starts skipping and nobody was there to hit, I remember this experience. I was in middle school. A DJ, it turned to CDs at this time.
Oh, yeah.
And he played the CD and just let it play, and it skipped for about 30 minutes because they couldn't find him. He thought, I can just put the CD on and it's working for me. It was crazy.
Nope. I remember that time as well. I was still using Techniques until about 99, and I gave them up because, I think I used CDs one time, and I didn't like them, but the MP3s were just coming out real good. There wasn't a real good, a CD, a mobile DJ software just yet. I think Atomix was probably the first one that I was using that had one record here and one record here, but there wasn't a controller for it that I had. So now I have a Pioneer CDJs, and I have my virtual DJ, and I'm able to mix. The advantage is that I can have every song ever made in the world at my fingertips. When I was using records, I would have a couple of crates of records, and guess what? At the party, that's what you're listening to. You don't get to listen to Denric's record unless I got it. If I got Denryc Hill's record with me, but now, Denryc Hill, if your record's out there in the world, I got it. I can buy it. I can put it on my turntables and play it for the people. Yeah. And I'm going to do that on Friday night because I play I play out at the Rab in Conway. They're going to learn who Denryc Hill is.
Right.
So, I mean, just, learning a little bit about you, man. And you were there. You knew where the DJs were at because you needed a DJ so you could have somebody to rap to. Did you ever have a combination like that where you were the MC and you had a DJ behind you on the ones and twos?
Yep. Actually, I had one of my properties, I had like a building that was like it used to be an after-hour club when my grandparents had it. And when I got it, I started throwing parties, So, I had a DJ. He came through and set up, and I had the microphone. And I used to do rap battles. I was throwing parties, and I was doing rap battles, and I stopped because it just used to always be about to get violent. You know what I'm saying? Rap battles, there's something about a rap battle, you know what I'm saying, that just make people want to fight. Some people can't take it. It's crazy how some people, if they're not used to the entertainment industry and they don't know that it's entertainment, people take stuff personal. But so that's why one of the reasons I'm glad that I made it out of Detroit, because Detroiters don't understand the entertainment industry. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I think they might. Detroit is a music town as well. Shoot, man, yeah.
It's a legendary place, Motown and stuff like that.
Man. But they take it personally. If you start roasting the loser in a rap battle, he might come out throwing some hands. Is that something that ever happened to you? Did you ever get in a fight over a rap battle?
I didn't get into a fight, but I was about to get into a lot of fights. I always knew the entertainment aspect of it and was able to have discipline to catch myself, And, fights turn into the worst stuff, so, but I had other people get into fights at my parties. So, but I was always knew, like, okay, let me just walk away because it's turning into a fight now. I always understood entertainment because I went to, like, acting school at a young age and just different stuff like that. I guess people that wasn't groomed into the entertainment business and they don't get it. Some people just don't get it. But I know Detroit, it's a legendary place. We got Motown and all that incredible music. But my personal experience in my neighborhood, people just didn't get it. So,
well, Denryc Hill, thankfully you weren't in a fight. You were fight adjacent. They happened around you.
Right.
All right. So, so you started taking, you had this music. It was selling. It was vibing with the people. You made a little money there. I mean, when did the dope game leave? Were you able to throw that to the wayside and find other pursuits, or was that still happening?
Yeah, basically, I had left the whole dope game alone by the time I was doing back and forth at first.
Got it.
I would be in the game, and I'd be like, because throughout my career, I would say in the dope game, I always wanted to do other stuff. It was like, man, I'm tired of this. I was making a lot of money, but the people that I was dealing with were just, wasn't comfortable to be around, and just, everything that comes with it. Everybody's against you at the end of the day. It's like an underground kind of thing. So it's, it's a lot of negativity involved in it. So I tried to get out the game, and I opened up a T-shirt business and sell T-shirts. I tried to stop and do some other different stuff. And, I always was trying to make an attempt to leave the game and do some kind of entrepreneur endeavor on and off. So rapping and doing mixtapes and stuff was something I did back and forth. And, but by the time I finally left the game and was like, okay, I'm done with it. And this was like in 2007. I remember everything so well. So in 2007, that's when something happened and I stopped, and from there I got it. I was going legit, and I actually tried to get it. I didn't really try to get into politics, but I started thinking about legitimate things, and I started working with a management company, and and it had a lot of politicians in it. And then I just started to see that was a gangster's game too. It was just a more professional game. So I was like, okay, well, back to rapping. So I started back rapping, and I was all the way done with the streets at this time. And so, man, that's why because whatever you focus on that you're going to make money off of, you're going to do good at it, because that's where your focus is at. When my focus was in the streets, I was making money in the streets. When I left the streets and my focus started to be on pursuing my music career, I started doing really well in it. So, yeah, so I was all the way done with the game by the time I start being successful with the music, and I independently got out here and made the majority of my money. Back in the day, Master P had a reputation for making $1 million out the trunk,
He made it
selling
say,
your own music. And I really proved that to be true, myself. So I really excited about how I did that,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had a day job, with and then you were trying to pursue your passion, which was music. So, yeah, you couldn't quite give up your day job until music took off. And thankfully, music took off, and the T-shirts and everything else that you were hustling at. So, yeah, you are a hustler, Denryc Hill, and that's what's going to keep you alive, man, through your whole life. And you will remain a hustler. Anytime in the entertainment business, the money could be good, but the work's not steady. So you have to keep hustling, and that's what you're doing, man. So you got out, all right, 2007, obviously a turning point. You can divulge, you can not divulge, but you had to get out of Detroit. Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. At 2007, that's when I had the turning point.
Yeah.
And by the time 2010 hit, I started, being successful. I ended up buying a camera, shooting some movies, just little hood movies in Detroit where I'm just interviewing people, rappers and singers and stuff like that. I did so many different things. So about 2010, I started filming, and, just like I go to an open mic, and if a singer was on stage, I film them and then I interview them.
What kind
a
of
rapper,
camera?
I film them, I interview them.
What kind of
It was a HVR 1000U with the mini DV cassette tapes. It was a Sony camera. And I went out and I started filming with that camera, and I put together some compilation DVDs, and I had that, and I had my mixtapes, and I started selling those, and I started traveling in 2011. 2011 and 2012. 2011, 2012, those 2 years, that's when I did my traveling and stuff like that. So it was a process. But 2007, that's when I had the turning point, wanted to go legit, what I'm saying? And for the next 3 years until 2010, I was working a job, just doing odd jobs and stuff like that. But that 3 year span is when I went legit from 2007 to 2010 and start traveling and all that from there.
Oh, okay. So you had this camera, you had these songs that were laid down. How many songs were on your little on your mixtape?
13 songs.
That's quite a few,
13.
man. All original raps, all with music that's not copyrighted, that you're able to parlay, to sell.
Yeah, because I started buying beats from people, stuff like that. Different producers, I buy some beats, and over the years I just accumulated, music, and then I would add on to it too as well. Like I would have the 13 songs, and then if I dropped another song or two, I just add that on there too.
Yes, sir. See, Denryc Hill, man, people now, if anybody's listening that thinks, oh, making beats, man, there's no money in that. There is. If you're creative enough, somebody's going to need those beats to rap over. You can't rap over somebody else's music. So you need something new, fresh, and original. And if somebody's going to sell you, hey, I think I can do something with that. People making beats, do it. Keep making them, man. If you feel like you're good at it, do it. There's Denryc Hill, or somebody like Denryc Hill might need some music. So, all right, 2010, you say, look, I need to get rid of this day job because it's stinks, whatever it is, and I need to get in the car and go drive where? Are you going to visit with people, or are you just going to places that you've heard about?
Yeah. Well, I was all of the above. I had a friend I was traveling with too, and he knew a bunch of people from different cities and states. And see, what I used to do is I had such a calculated plan. Let's just say, okay, for instance, the All-Star game was in Texas in 2012.
Yeah.
And so we would do stuff like that. We would chase these events like, oh, the All-Star game, man, it's going to be 70,000 people in the, in the arena or whatever the place was. And we go out there and we'll hustle and we'll make a lot of money, because I would do stuff like that. I would go to places where, and I was in Memphis and went to Beale Street. It was a holiday. I can't recall exactly what holiday it was, but it was stuff like that. Like if there was something going on somewhere, it was like, that's where I needed to be, with my music and with my movies and stuff. So that's how I did it. I used to go chase these huge events where it was so many people would be there,
I mean, did you end up doing any after parties at these events? Where you say, hey, come on over, we got an after party in my room or whatever?
Nope, I was really going to a bunch of other people's after parties and stuff like that. I was really just riding that wave of fun, just going, just being, meeting new people and stuff like that. All of my stuff that I was throwing personally was like basically in Detroit, but when I was traveling and stuff, I like to go to other people's events and support them, because I make some money and then I'll be ready to go spend it somewhere or something like that.
But how did you make some money? Did you tell the DJ, hey, play this track for me, this is mine, and then bam, people go, oh, I gotta have that? Or how did you get the word out?
Yep, I did that in a lot of cities too. Yeah. I did that as well. Yep, but I made a lot of money just running into people. Like if I'm at a like for instance, like when I was at the All-Star game, it was so many people out there. I was literally making like 1,000 or more in one day, in one night, within hours. When the All-Star game let out, that's 70,000 people leaving the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying?
And if you get 1,000 people to give you a buck apiece.
Hey. Right, something like that. Yeah. But it was like I was selling them for like $5 and $10.
Excellent.
And I literally would make $1,000, $1,500 in 4 hours of people just leaving that game and going to party. And from there, I would have that much money on me, and it was like, okay, now I can go to a party or two. And then I would hit the club, and I'd say, hey, play my song, and then I'd play it on the mic, and people would be walking up, oh, these guys from Detroit, da, 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 da. And they'll come by the music. And so it was just a real grind, and thinking and calculating stuff out. Okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to make some money. I'm going to go there. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to go there, and I was just really just hustling hard. And at that time, CDs and DVDs were still selling real heavy. As time progressed, everything is going digital. So sales, start slowing down. But at that time it was still booming, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Really, really big.
Denryc Hill, I mean, as a DJ, if somebody came in off the streets and said, hey, play my record, I'm going to do that, man. I like to support artists, and that's what DJs do. They bring new music to the people. That's what they've done, and they've always done, is bring out that fresh stuff. And Denryc Hill, if a young Denryc Hill would have come to me in 2010 and said, hey, could you play my CD? I'm going to drop that thing on there and see how it goes for the people. And hopefully you could have made some bucks off of that, man. I appreciate that. So you were doing that 2012, traveling around the country, and when did you finally? Was there acting throughout this, or was this mostly music career right now?
Yeah, that was just music career at that time.
Okay,
I really started advancing in my acting career when I moved here to Georgia. Yeah. I had a few nice paying acting jobs in Detroit, but it was all like on stage. I was in different plays and stuff like that. And, some of them paid me really well, too. But when I got to, I was making nice money acting in plays and stuff like that in Detroit, I was because I would act for a play at a museum. It was the Charles H. Wright Museum, Detroit Public Schools. I was in a play that we used to do a tour around the city, and I made some nice money. For starters, that was my startup acting career on the stage plays in Detroit. But when I got to Georgia, I immediately started getting booked, to work on these sets. Tyler Perry Studios hit me up like within the first month I was here and said, hey, can you be the set in 2 hours? And I was like, yeah. And this is extra work, background work and featured work.
But how did they know about you, Denryc Hill? How'd they know?
Well, I submitted my information. I watched the news. One of my family members was telling me, they put castings on the news every morning, so I started watching the news and I saw where it said, email us if you want to, be on set and this, that, and the other. So I started sending the emails and sending my pictures and stuff like that. And
well, that must be the Atlanta news because I don't think I've ever seen that around here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's on the Atlanta news. Yeah, because this the place to be for the acting career. So they always posting stuff on the news every morning. They letting you know what they filming in Atlanta and who they need and stuff like that. And I started sending those emails and they started hitting me back. And man, I looked up, I was getting booked on set so much. And then I got actually hot because actually you have to send your information in. Yes. And once you become a fixture and you become a regular, they start hitting you up all the time. Like, hey, can you come in? Can you be on this set today? And can we book you for a week on the set of so-and-so? You know what I'm saying? After I grinded for about a year, submitting all of my information, trying to get on set, and I was getting booked. And then I guess I made so many appearances and they liked me that they started contacting me all the time. I didn't even have to send my info in anymore. It was just like, hey, come on, we want you. We need you, Denryc. And, so I've made a bunch of appearances, man. I made countless appearances I've seen myself on TV so many times that it's crazy. People always hit me up, and especially people from Detroit that know my face so well. That, hey, man, I saw you in this movie, man. Is that you? And like, yeah. So it's really been an amazing thing for me how my life changed. It's like I'm living twice now because now I'm living a whole new life, of entertainment. And actually, I wrote a book, too. It's called Make It Happen.
What?
And it's telling, yeah, man, I wrote a book called Make It Happen, and it's just telling people how to, to change their life or start an entrepreneur endeavor, how you can just imagine something and, how you can research it, network, and then you do a test run. So it's the 5 steps to greatness, teaching people how to just change their life and do something bigger and better and great. Basically what I did, I imagined myself being successful in the entertainment, and I started doing some research, and then I started networking with people, and then I did a test run to see how it goes. And then, so I wrote a book called Make It Happen, telling people how they could do it.
Denryc Hill, you're just telling people exactly what you need to do, just like any job. You show up to work on time, ready to work, they're going to keep calling you back. And that's what you did with the acting career, man. You showed up to work on time, ready to work, did the thing that they wanted you to do, and they keep calling you back for more. That's how you get in. Yeah. Man, you could do that. That translates to almost any job, and you're doing it, man. So when officially did you get to Atlanta and say, I guess you said you went there like on a trip. That was like one of your trips with your friend. But when did you say, hey, I'm moving to Atlanta? What year was that?
It was 2013.
So from
and
then,
I ended up moving here actually in 2014 is when I actually moved here. My whole family actually moved down here too. So
they all had to get out of Detroit, man. I know the Detroit God and his family. So okay, how many people in the family still living there in Atlanta?
Well, most of my immediate family came. My mother came, and my mother, Sarita, thank goodness she put me in acting classes, so back in the day. And she came, my sister Denryta, and my other sister, Charity. And thank you to her. I want a special thanks to her because she's the one who, she had already been here, back and forth and stuff like that. And she had a nice house for me to move in and just different stuff like that. A nice suburb,
which one was in the acting?
Neighborhood. My sister, Denryc, my little sister,
That's
Denryc.
cool.
Yeah, she was acting with me. Yeah.
So,
and then my little brother ended up moving here too. Yeah, my little brother Denryc.
All the hills have traveled on down to Atlanta. How many are in the entertainment business with you?
Well, just me. It's just me. Yep. Even my sister that was in acting classes, she started doing comedy. She started doing a little stand-up comedy and stuff like that. But I'm the one who just kept going and kept pursuing it and ended up on TV, ended up in movies and different stuff like that I'm doing.
Hey, man, dying's easy. Comedy's hard. I've heard that before. And my brother was doing comedy, my little brother, and he was really good doing Miami Improv. That was no joke. He was good, though. And I wish I could have done what he did up on stage. And so I give it up to your sister. That's fantastic, man, that she tried that out. And did she pursue it for a little bit, or it just, nah, let's go ahead and find something else to do?
Well, I wanted to do stand-up comedy, too. I did it one time at the Improv here in Atlanta, and that was about it. That was my one and only time doing it, you know what I'm saying? And I think I was kind of good at it, but it's just, I don't know if it was just my particular niche. You know what I'm saying? So,
I listen to comedians. Yeah. If you want to do comedy, go do it 100 times. Do it 100 times. If after 100 times it still sucks, then no, find something else to do. But do it 100 times. Try it, man. But that's good. You do have the gift of gab. You've kept me entertained for all this time on this podcast, and I'm learning about you, Denryc Hill, and your family. That is so great that you're so tight knit, and that they all came. With you. I mean, you said the little sister was there first. She already had a house and she was already established when you went to Atlanta?
Well, my little sister, she had traveled back and forth too, but me, my little sister, and my mom, we moved here at the same time. My big sister, Charity, she had a place here, a nice place in the suburbs that we could come to and everything. But my little sister had been back and forth as well, too. She moved here for a couple of years, moved back to Detroit, and now we're all down here now. So
that is
and
sweet.
Even my cousin just moved down here, so, everybody just been migrating here.
So when you finally, you were officially there in 2014, what was the first thing that you did to get your, I say entertainment because really it's not just acting. You got the writing and you got the directing and all the other, and the music as well. What was the first thing that you had to do to establish yourself in Atlanta as a fixture, as a person, that entertainer?
Well, I ended up getting booked on the movie Neighbors 2 with Seth Rogen and Zac Efron, and that was my first official speaking role on a SAG contract, which is the Actors Union. SAG is the Screen Actors Guild. And so now I get, I get residual checks coming in from that movie and stuff like that. So that was my biggest thing as far as paperwork and speaking role go, my biggest pay and stuff like that, the biggest deal I had in acting. So that I would say was it, because that actually, in Atlanta, you're SAG eligible, which means you're eligible to be a part of the union if you get one speaking role. So I got that speaking role, and that kind of put the eyes on me of the industry. Even though they cut the scene in the movie, they cut it really bad and stuff like that, but it still was official with my paperwork. You know what I'm saying? So
Neighbors 2, really, Sorority Rising, you play the rapper. That's on your IMDb, man. That's official. So did they cut you completely out of that movie, or they cut it? Are you still in it?
They cut it really bad. they just cut it where it wasn't all the work that we did. Like, when you go to set and you film it, it's like, oh yeah, and it's gonna be dope, and it's the greatest thing ever. And then when you see it, it's like, okay, it's really quick. When they cut the scene, a lot of the stuff that we did. So,
you were still in there, man. You were still in there. The editor had to do what he had to do, man, to make that movie flow right.
Yeah, and I get it, man, because I edit too, so I get it, so I wasn't, mad about it, and then I still get paid from it. So it's like, that was great, but that was the thing that solidified me, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as I got here, I got booked for a speaking role on the contract, so that was great, man.
That's a stepping stone right there, Denryc Hill. I mean, we've gotten to pretty close to right here. That was 2016. I mean, what have you say you've been doing appearances here and there in different places, so much so that people are recognize you from back home and even all over the country. People are saying, "Hey, Denryc, was that you on that show?" Is that what you've been doing since 2016 up to now?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I was just on set the other day too.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what I do on and off. So right now I do a mixture of a few different things.
Okay.
I run my own film company, which is basically I film and edit stuff for people. If somebody needs a music video filmed and edited, I'll do it, or an event, different things like that. And then I do they call it background work, what I do. So, background acting. So I do a lot of those every year.
Well, tell the people what's the name of your production company that you do this on?
I call it D Up Entertainment.
Is there a page for that? Is there a place that people could find you for that?
Nope, I don't have that. I promote it every now and again on my pages. I just do a bunch of freelance work. I really promote my acting, what I'm saying?
But you need to get out
on
there,
man. On my Denryc Hill Facebook page, I put it out there. Hey, I'm a filmmaker, And then my name is just really, a lot of my business comes word of mouth. I'll be out here networking so heavy that, I just, I never really created a page for it, and I just load stuff on my YouTube, different stuff like that.
Hey, as long as you stay busy, Denryc Hill, I mean that's keeping you busy, and that's making you a good living. You're doing well, I'm hoping.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, man. I can't complain at all, man. I'm legit and different stuff like that, and.
Cool.
It's just great to me, the life change that I've made, I end up paying off a lot of money for Michigan so I can get my license in Georgia and just different stuff like that.
Well, good, man. It sounds like you've turned it around. You're doing what you love to do as far as the writing and the acting and the music making. Well, I mean, what are you doing the most of in any of those fields? What are you doing next? What's next for Denryc Hill?
Well, I'm going to shoot me a movie this year. I've already shot a movie, and it did pretty well, here. And I'm going to shoot another movie, and I'm about to shoot a pilot so I can do a series. I'm going to pitch the series to different things, to Netflix and different TV stations and stuff like that. And I've been doing my research on just how to get a show picked up, and I actually film and direct and all of that stuff pretty well. So I'm gonna shoot a pilot and pitch it to just different avenues like that. And I'm gonna shoot another movie, and I'm gonna just put it out there as big as I possibly can on my independently. You know what I'm saying? So. Yep, I'm going to do that. I've been talking with investors, and I always got some sponsors and investors and stuff like that ready to just invest in whatever I want to do. So that's a really good thing I have going. But, yeah, I'm going to shoot a TV pilot, and I'm going to shoot a movie. That's the next main things I'm going to do this year. And other than that, I'm always getting booked to be on some set, So that's great.
Denryc Hill, the streaming is definitely where it's at. That's where I catch all my entertainment is online. No more cable for me, no more networks for me. So you got the right idea of heading for Netflix or Hulu or even Amazon. They got their own streaming stuff too. But or any of the other streaming platforms. There's so many, Crackle and so many other ones. But you know, all these things that you're planning for this year. You've written your own own TV show and your own movie. You've written all this yourself?
Yep, I write it all myself, man. And some of the stuff I've written I wrote it years ago. Like the movie I have right now called Make It Happen, I wrote that way back in the day. You know, it took me, I wrote it like 10-something years ago or something like that. And then I actually filmed it when I got down here. So, but yeah, I sit down and write all the time. To this day, I still keep a notepad, you know, and a pen, and I'm just always writing. And I might turn my voice recorder on and you know, voice memo some scenes. And I got notes, a notepad in my phone that I can type, you know, just different ideas and stuff like that. And yeah, man, I write it all myself, man. I write it. And all of that, I just come up with these ideas in different places and make sure I record it. And then I have days when I sit down and I put it all together, you know.
From the creative mind of Denryc Hill, man. I look forward to seeing more from you and hearing more from you. So where can people find out all about this? Is it only on your Facebook page where you can look up Denryc Hill?
Yeah, for the most part on Facebook, and that's Denryc Hill. That's DENRYC. Last name Hill, HILL. So yeah, for the most part, I put all my information on there. I'm actually going to put some information because I'm going to be casting for my movie, and the things that I'm shooting this year. I'm going to put the flyer up there, and on Instagram. People can reach me at Detroit God. That's DETROITGOD, and that's all one word. And on Facebook, I do my more or less professional, you know, conservative thing, and on Instagram, I get a little more maybe aggressive and, you know, a little more cocky as far as my personality and stuff like that, just so the people know, you know.
I'm seeing the two different versions of Denryc Hill, man, where you have you have the rapper Detroit God, and then you have the actor Denryc Hill. Yeah. All right. A lot of people are doing this duality, and it shows that you have more range. So, that helps. That helps a lot, man. Look at Glover and his and his rap persona as well. So yeah, I see nothing but great things for you, Denryc Hill, man. So thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you for chit chatting with me for a while and letting me and my listeners know a little bit more about you. I look forward to seeing more, and I'll definitely put the links to your various things and pages in my show notes. But for now, I mean, hopefully we get to chit chat again. But for now. Any last words for the people? Or how can they find that book, too? Well, include that in the last words.
Okay, well, you can find my book on Amazon, actually, right now, and it's called Make It Happen, The 5 Steps to Greatness. And that's what I'm all about right now, inspiring people and compelling people to just make it happen, make great things happen for yourself. And I want everybody out there to know to just be confident, have discipline, and just groom yourself to be a better person. That's what my whole movement of my life is about, is just to make people better themselves, you know, people to have, individuals to have self-discipline, you know, to just make a better life for themselves and for the people around them. And, so catch me on Facebook, Denryc Hill, and I'm on Instagram and Detroit God. And I guarantee you're going to see me doing some huge things. I already have some stuff lined up, and that's what makes me famous, you know. And so make sure you keep tuning in to What Makes You Famous podcast. I appreciate this interview. I feel really great about it. It's really inspiring me and motivating me to even go harder in what I'm doing. So everybody in love and peace and in power, be blessed.
Well, there you have it, party people. Denryc Hill, writer, actor, director, just a hustler, straight up hustler from Detroit all over this fine country of ours. And he ended up right in Atlanta, GA, where it's all happening. There are so many different shows coming out of there and projects. Tyler Perry, hello, and Walking Dead. He's been on The Walking Dead. I know a lot of my listeners enjoy that. So look for Denryc Hill in a Walking Dead episode near you, and find him on IMDb. Right now he's got the one credit to his name. Hey, that's what's going to put him in the guild and give him credibility, and that way he can pursue acting further, music. He can pursue whatever he wants. The sky's the limit for Denryc Hill, man, and the whole family is down there to support him. So that's excellent. You got your family with you. You got everything. You got everything you need. You got your family. So Denryc Hill, thank you so much for being on the program. What Makes You Famous? Thank you for telling at least a big part of your story. Hey, from a tough beginning to where you are now. Started from here, now you're here. All right? And now you're going to get way up here. That's it for me. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening. Radio What, the music you want, with another great quote. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Mae West. The music you want is on radiowhat.com. Tweet, yo. Follow Radio What on Twitter at Radio What Twit. Tweet, yo.